Is Trials of Mana worth our time? We're about to find out. Welcome everyone to episode 223 of 1 Hour, 1 Decision, 1H1D. I am Chris.
And I am Tom.
And we take 60 minutes and play a random game on Xbox Game Pass and decide, well, Tom, Mana or Mana?
Secrets or trials?
Ooh, that's a good question. That's a good question. And we will try to answer those questions in this episode as we talk about Trials of Mana, developed by Square Enix. And this game came out multi-platform September 2024.
Yeah.
I play this on the PC. Per usual, 13.74 gigabytes on the PC. Tom, what about you?
Shockingly close in size. 13.93 gigabytes on the Series S. That might be the closest to in the gigabytes files have ever come.
I agree. That's well done. Well done, Square Enix, doing your thing before, I guess, things went to crap over there with Embracer and everything. Ugh. Anyway, let's not talk about that. But now let's talk about what kind of game this is, Tom.
I put third-person action RPG.
Yeah. I put 3D real-time JRPG because, you know, most of the time you say JRPG, you think turn-based.
Right. Yeah.
So I had to
when I say third person action RPG, it's not Legend of Zelda, you know what I mean? But it shocked me that it was an action game.
Yeah. Yeah. And we'll talk about that a little bit later, but now let's talk about that game loop.
I have explore the world and complete objectives, and I put quests in brackets there, by beating baddies and chatting with NPCs to advance the plot.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm just trying to filter down to the things that I did in that hour, and it was running around and beating on some cute critters to progress the story.
Yes. It is a lot of beating up monsters.
Yes. And adorable ones, at least.
Yeah, they're not monstrous monsters.
Yeah. This gives me very much vibes of like Dragon Quest, the very beginning of those.
Yes.
So, but then again, let's roll into our likes here.
Sure.
Let's roll into our likes here. But yeah, the first thing, you and I generally don't talk about our experiences with these games before we get on the episode.
Correct.
But we had to talk about it a little bit because what I found out, because you played this a little bit earlier than me.
Yes.
There are multiple protagonists.
Yes.
You form a party and lo and behold, you can this is what I believe. It was a game that we played earlier, Octopath Traveler.
Mm-hmm.
This must have been influenced by that. Or vice versa. I think Octopath is influenced by this because this is a bit of a remake, if I recall.
Yeah. This is a remake of a 1995 Super Famicom title.
My goodness.
The first of my other thoughts. Spoiler.
Oh, geez. I'm sorry. But yeah, okay. It's you do have multiple protagonists, and because of that, your stories, the way things start off, I'm assuming, is very different.
Mm-hmm.
I played as I think her name is Charlie, the little girl.
Excellent. I did not pick Charlie. I picked a typical human male protagonist whose name escapes me now.
I believe you said it was Duran, like Duran.
Yes, like Duran.
Well, I mean, it's from the 90s. It makes sense. But anyway, and from what I understand, like the way my story started, she is like, she has like a dream, I guess, with her parents and stuff like that. And then you find out that she lives in this castle, and she's got some sort of connection with the tree of like the Mana tree. Is it what's it called?
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of like where you kind of head off into this adventure, is like you, first you're going to save one of your like, bosom buddies, and then you run into this like fairy that like bonds with Charlie. And then you're like, oh man, yeah, now we're linked, and now we have to go save the tree. And that's kind of where things went for me. What about you? What happened with yours?
He is a knight in the castle.
Okay.
And the castle gets hit by a mysterious intruder.
Oh.
And you have to go off and figure out who this interloper is, and it's much more of a, I guess, traditional kind of
Interesting.
experience where you're male fighter guardsman, type who goes out to, I've got to protect the kingdom from these mysterious threats.
Mm-hmm. And and the other part of it is you not only pick your protagonist, you pick the rest of your party.
Yeah.
So I got a little weird, and I got the I guess the wolf kid. I think he's like part animal, and like you run into him again, which I'm pretty surprised how quickly the story progressed through my hour. It did do that, and I will also point out fully voice acted.
Yeah, right.
Fully voice acted. I was very impressed by that. The fact that like every conversation that I had, people were talking, people were saying things to you. I was like, wow. All right, good stuff. So yeah, and then so yeah, you pick your characters, and then like they kind of you like the story kind of melds out. Okay, now you pick this guy, so we'll meet you in this particular area and stuff like that. I was like, okay, cool, very cool. But I've taken up so much time here. Tom,
okay. It's an action game. I was totally expecting a turn-based RPG.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, okay. This is going to be a much more interactive experience than I was I was expecting, like I'm playing through the book, type game, and it really isn't that.
Right.
It's still very much an RPG. Don't get me wrong. There's still a lot of plot and story going on. Oh, yeah. But it is a action style combat. I love this visual presentation, like the cool anime style of it. Like we said, a little bit more Dragon Quest.
Yeah. It almost had like a very slight influence of Toriyama, but like not really. There was something. Yeah, it was something like off, not off, but I was like, huh, interesting. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah, no. I liked. So it's an RPG. It's an RPG that lets you explore environments, like you know what I mean. But two things. One, there's a yellow star that's constantly telling you where you need to go.
Yeah.
So there's never a question of what am I supposed to be doing right now, right? The game is always very kind of laser focused on this is where, like, if you want to do the thing, this is where you go to do it. But at the same time, if you go exploring, which I can't help myself, you get rewarded for it. There are chests, there are items, there's stuff to find. You might run into a random encounter. There's stuff going on in the world that you can stumble onto if you stumble off the beaten path. And you're certainly welcome to do that at any time. It's not,
Right. Yeah. And I totally agree with you. They definitely encouraged you to explore the world. And I felt like I felt like I was making progress when I wasn't doing anything, because like to your point, you're picking up items, and then like to your point about the random encounters, they're not doing the swirly whirly thing. They're just enemies that are out there. And but yeah, you're progressing your levels, and you're getting stronger as you just go around like beating the crap out of these little creatures. And yeah, I thought the combat felt pretty satisfying, I will say. You got a light attack, heavy attack, you got a special attack, and then you're just kind of doing your thing. And I'm trying to remember though, if I think you did have to heal in between combat, right? Like your health doesn't heal back up.
Yeah. No, it's not super duper.
Like it's not like easy mode. Although I wonder if it is an easy mode, like it refills, because there is difficulties, like difficulty settings. So not as like intense as like Atom Fall or Sniper Elite, where you can tweak stuff, but it's like a basic kind of like easy, medium, or hard kind of challenging way to go through combat. And yeah, like you mentioned before, the world was just very bright and colorful. And it was nice. It was a nice change of pace, I would say. Although Atom Fall was bright and colorful in certain places, like outside in the open world, but like this was just like, whoa, it was just a pop of color, like literally everywhere.
Yeah, and it does. I mean, it is a remake, right, of a 16-bit era game, and those games were like brighter, more fun. They could be serious, but they weren't dark and dreary. And I think especially a lot of the Western RPGs, like it's like they're all like very like, I'm so serious,
and gray.
There's everything's brown or gray and maybe red for blood.
Yeah, no. Maybe.
But I also enjoyed the combat, and I also have here in my likes that I enjoyed the music. I thought it was like got you up and going. It like matched the kind of like the tempo of what you were doing.
Okay.
So
that's important because it's not just one tune that's just droning on and on, because that would be a problem. That could get very annoying very quickly if it's crappy music. So yeah, I'm glad that I didn't actually really notice the music, but that's not necessarily a bad thing though.
Right.
Because
yeah, right. So you listener, if Tom has a good experience and Chris has no experience, it wasn't a negative. So.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Anything else here? Should we move on to our dislikes?
I think we should hustle along here.
All right. Well, okay. I know everything was fully voice acted, Tom, but the voice acting in English, I had to try it. I was like, let me try it.
Oh yeah.
Because I felt like this is a game that's going to have a lot of cutscenes and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, I feel like I have to just give it a shot. The English voice acting was not great.
Yeah. It took up a couple of lines here in my dislikes. Voice acting feels very awkward.
Oh
I put B movie tier is how I likened it. And then I said, I guess because I also switched it to Japanese to give it a go. I said, honestly, the dialogue in general is kind of bad. Like, is it the translation? I don't know. I don't speak Japanese, so.
Nave and Phil from Gaming Together, they're learning Japanese. So they've been playing a lot of games in Japan, like no subtitles, nothing. So I'm
That's
curious
bold.
if they ever played that. Yeah, I'm very bold. And I think they're doing all right with that. But yeah, I you know what the thing was the most frustrating about the voice acting for me? And now, did it sound good? You said you flipped it to Japanese. Did it sound better?
Yeah, it didn't seem as like, oh God, you know.
The thing that I thought was most frustrating for me about the English voice acting was I felt like the main characters really phoned it in. And then there were side characters I felt like that were pretty well acted. Like the grandfather of Charlie, like who's like this old like mage king or whatever he is.
Okay.
Pretty well voice acted, I thought. Compared to Charlie. The other thing that was so irritating was Charlie has this like weird lisp or something like that.
No.
And it was just great. Like we're talking about, the music wasn't grating, but her voice was grating. And it was, and then the animal guy's voice was incredibly frustrating because I think he was trying to match the lips of the character. And so he was pausing every so often. And like, I don't know if it was just like because he's trying to talk in whatever the colloquial language is and he's not a very good talker, but like I don't know. It was like, it just
didn't work for you.
It didn't work. It definitely did not work. So yeah, I'm sorry. I've been going on about this voice acting, but it was really grating me.
It's okay. Took up two of my bars here. And one of mine here is there's a whole lot of exposition and cutscenes. Yeah. So you're listening to a lot of this.
Yes. Yeah. It's rough because like it makes me wonder if the voice acting was good. You were saying the dialogue's not great, which I agree. So it's like
some of it's the writing, or at least the writing in English.
Right. So like it makes it harder to feel like, so is just the writing overall, is the story overall just going to be really lame?
Yeah.
You know? So it was like, I don't know, very odd. The other thing I thought was very odd is attack is Y and B on the controller.
Yeah, they were in a weird spot.
And I think it's, I think it's because, like you said, this is a remake of a Super Nintendo game or Famicom game. So I'm assuming that they do YB that position back then, and that's also a PlayStation thing, Drew, right? Like PlayStation Japan, they would always have, I don't know what's the button on the far right? Oh, here it is.
Square circle. Yeah.
Triangle, circle. So I think they would always use those as like their primary, as opposed to the Western side. It was X and Y always, like that, like, you know, the left and the top. Anyway, I'm ranting about this, but yes, it was very confusing. It gave me PTSD of like Tears of the Kingdom and stuff like that, and I was like, no. I got used to it eventually, but it was still kind of frustrating because I would definitely misclick something when I'm trying to do an attack, and it was frustrating.
I also have that the buttons annoyed me because they're like context sensitive. Like the A button, like the accept button keeps changing on you depending on what you're doing. So a lot of times not a lot of times, but several times I ended up doing something I wasn't trying to do. There are barrels that you can't smash. Bad segue here, but like I could explore the universe, the world, and there are stuff that you can smash.
Yeah.
And then other things that you can't smash. And I'm just like, really? Barrels? Barrels are the things I can't smash? Like,
what's the context here? Why can't I break all? I can only break some of them, but not all of them. Yeah.
It was weird. It just seemed like, why?
I don't know. I mean, you're doing a remake too. So why not give us extra access to other things to break? I don't know.
I break everybody's stuff. Like when I play as Link and I just go around smashing everybody's everything.
It's like I just love the fact that you just go around smashing people's like pots and pans or whatever.
I'm gonna cut down their plants. I'm gonna smash all their pots.
And then you have a conversation with them, and they have like nothing to bring.
They don't seem to mind. So I guess I'm gonna keep doing it.
There's got to be a Pet Arcade or something like that with that.
I'm sure that there is.
All right. Anything else here you wanted to bring up about dislikes?
So the game saves are locked to the statues and the inns. I can't save everywhere I want to. Right. Good news is there's enough statues and enough inns that it's not that serious. But still, why? Why? Just cause?
I mean, it's a game.
Maybe it's the old in the old. Yeah, okay. I'll give you that. If that's what it was in the 90s, perhaps it's
like how did you save in Chrono Trigger? You had to go to like a
you had to go to
right?
like a spot.
Yeah. So just something like that.
All right. I also have that the cameras and the controls annoyed me at certain moments. Not that it was a deal breaker, but sometimes it just didn't do what I wanted it to do. And because it's an action game, it kind of needs to.
Right. Yeah. Agreed.
The controls fight you in any way, shape, or form you're going to notice in an action game, whereas you really don't if it was a turn-based RPG.
Right. Absolutely. Makes sense, especially when you got a million of those little things coming after you. Oh, is there a lock-on system? I'm trying to remember if there was.
There is. Yeah.
Okay. I was about to say, I was like, man, that would be super helpful in this game. Like, I did not do the lock-on because I just wanted to make sure I could freely roam the arena area so I can do that. But yeah, cool. All right. So then I guess we get to our other thoughts then, Tom. As we've already spoiled it already. This is a remake.
Yes. You want me to go first? That's unusual.
Please. Oh, yes. No. You're right. I mean, well, yes, I felt bad because I ruined your first part. But
that's okay.
Then I will quickly go. How Long to Beat says this takes at least 20 hours to play and can go all the way up to 43 hours. That's still not terrible for a JRPG.
No, it really isn't.
So I'm surprised
I guess because it's an action game,
Maybe.
It's kind of leaning that way a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. It is xCloud capable as well, so you can play this on the go and do your thing. So good on them for that.
Yeah.
All right, Tom.
Okay. Surprise! It's a remake of the 1995 Super Famicom title, which was never localized. So we did not get this in America, which is why I was like, whoa, a brand new game.
Yeah.
No, I'm just an ignorant American. But there was enough demand, honestly, is what it was, that when they did a remake of Secret of Mana first, and then they were like, oh, yeah, we have this other game that we could remake too. And people were like, yes, please do that.
Yeah.
So here it is. When you ultimately meet your companions, because I did not meet mine in my playthrough, the ones that I picked.
Okay.
But when you ultimately meet them, you have the option to play their prologue.
Yes, that is true. And I will give them credit for this too. I believe in Octopath, you had to play their prologue. And here you don't. And I skipped it. I did skip it. I skipped it because I was like, I don't need another backstory thing. Let's keep moving. Let's play this game. And yeah, that is very true. That is a like, I will say.
And probably contributes to that disparity between 20 and 43 hours.
Yeah, absolutely. Right?
Because if you go back and play a whole character's prologue, that's probably going to add some time to your playtime.
Sure will.
All right, let's see. There is a post-game storyline that was not in the Famicom version. Also a New Game Plus. The original prototype for this game was a top-down, but the designers decided, no, let's do like 3D, let's do a whole new combat system. I think they made the right choice.
Yeah, I agree. But like, I'm trying to remember, Secret of Mana was very similar to this, like in terms of the combat, right?
Yeah, it was. It was an action RPG, just like a 2D one.
Right. But yeah, I remember it being pretty cool, very different from the time I was playing Chrono Trigger. So I was like, okay, nice.
This is my first experience with this series. Okay. So
cool. All right. Well, then I guess we will roll on to our final thoughts on this game. Tom, are we keeping this game on our respective hard drives? Or are we changing the localization to something that is less grating?
So I expected this to be very slow-paced, turn-based RPG. And we've talked about this a lot. Expectations make a big impact on the final experience, right? So I was very pleasantly surprised when I started playing this game, and I was like, oh, this is like a really like hands-on, like faster moving type game.
Yeah.
And as a consequence, my hour went by like super duper quick, and I had fun doing it. So I'm going to keep going with this. I enjoyed it.
Wow. Okay. Awesome.
I guess I can get past the. If I play it in Japanese, and
it's better.
Yeah, I guess.
Just don't I guess ignore the fact that the dialogue doesn't. Well, but how would you know if the dialogue doesn't match up with the Japanese that they're saying?
Well, I still think you have the problem with the lips and the not matching the.
That's great. That's not great. Well, look, I'm torn because the idea of having these multiple stories and the real-time combat was really cool. And it was just like a unique experience, especially the fact that, you and I can have totally different experiences.
Yeah.
And we can kind of talk about it. Like, it kind of gives you that old school vibe of like, hey, did you get to this part? Did you get to this part? Like, all this stuff. And then having those like different memories, different situations. But look, the stilted voice acting in this game for the main characters, especially, just really grated me. It was grating on me.
Yeah.
Because of that, I mean, I might go back to just try in Japanese. But like, if you were to tell me they only did the English voice acting, this would be a complete hard pass no for me. But as of right now, I am also still going to keep not keep it and pass on it. So
that's fair. And to be fair, you played with a different protagonist. So maybe the answer to dear listeners is maybe don't pick either of these two characters. Pick one of the other. I don't know. Isn't it like
4?
Yeah, there are at least 4. Pick somebody else, and maybe he'll have a better go of it.
Maybe. So there's that. And those are our thoughts. Let us know what you think of this game. Follow us and say hello on Blue Sky or on Twitter. Blue Sky at 1H1D, Twitter at TC1H1D, Threads at TC1H1D, and check out our streams on Twitch at twitch.tv/1H1D. We play these games, play our hour there, and we might say something back to you. Most likely just be me.
I was going to say, Chris will say something back to you. Tom doesn't have a mic on, and it's a solo experience.
It's a solo experience. That's fair. These episodes are also on YouTube. So, you can send us a comment down below and just say, maybe what is the name of the original game that was in Super Famicom?
Yeah.
That'd be great. 1H1D is part of the QTV network. And if you like any great gaming content, check it all out at quitthebuild.com/network.
Woo.
All right. Now, Tom, we do need to find out, what are we playing next?
Yes.
And we will find out by hitting that surprise me button.
Woohoo.
So here we go. Well, Tom, I hope you've got your Saturday morning cartoon vibes on, because we're going back and playing Ben 10 Power Trip.
That is a cartoon that came out long after I had stopped watching Saturday morning cartoons.
This is true. It probably wasn't even on Saturday morning, to be honest, too. So there's that. Yes, so that is our next episode, and that is it for this episode. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in, and we will catch you on the next one.
Thanks, everybody.